Hi, this is Laurel Siegel from the Siegel Nest. I'm here with Amanda Hemm, and I wanted to take some time for her to introduce herself and go from there.
Thanks, Laurel. I'm excited to be here. I love all the work that you're doing, and I'm happy to be in your circle and in your network.
I'm really excited to have you here and to be able to talk to people who are in the field and out of the field and how it relates to what we do.
Yeah, so like you, I do many things new parents and many things baby. I think you're probably a little more focused on baby, and I'm a little more focused on the parents, but they go so hand in hand. You get those dyads. I've been, just to kind of give a little bit of a background, I've been a postpartum doula for 6 years, 7 years, and have seen a lot of different family situations, different challenges that parents are having. I've kind of played around with what do I like best as postpartum doula work, and through a lot of that, plus the pandemic when we weren't in houses as much, I have tacked on being a new parent coach. So I work with families as they're going through the transition of growing their families.
What is your favorite part of being a new parent coach, and what does that mean?
What does that mean? That's a good one. That's
We'll
a good
do
one.
both questions.
So, so I know that there's other new parent coaches out there, but I think that for every new parent coach, just as there is with postpartum doulas, everybody has their own flavor to it, right? And they have different things that they excel at or they really like to do. And so with coaching, what that means for me is that I like to work with families, ideally prenatally, to get to know them a little bit, to talk about what their intentions are as parents, what are some of their expectations, to give some education about what might be the reality when you have a new baby. But by listening to what they want, I can give them some tips and strategies of how to increase the likelihood that that's what's going to happen. And then once the baby arrives, it's kind of this mix of some education, some reassurances, and just kind of being there in the moment for somebody. And then some strategizing of going forward, of what is it that's not working for you right now? Where is it that you want to be? And how can we make a plan to get you from point A to point B?
That sounds like a really great part of being a postpartum doula and part of your little niche that you do. It sounds really wonderful and really helpful.
Right. And for the moms and dads that I work with, I come in without any agenda. It's not like they're getting advice from their mom or their sister or somebody who might have some preconceived ideas of what it should be or how that person has been in the past and what that person wants going forward. And so I think that the families I work with appreciate the impartial, the no judgment, the this is what we want, and I help them to get there rather than just spewing advice that may or may not be helpful.
Yeah, I feel like being a postpartum doula in general comes with families need to know that we're not going to judge them. We're not there to judge anything. We're there to meet them where they are and support them and lift them up wherever they are and help them through whatever they're going through, regardless of if it's a struggle or not. It's a transition.
Right. And I feel like if I talk to parents and they're like, oh, I'm, pick a label for parenting. There's so many labels. I'm this kind of parent. Right? I want to do exclusive breastfeeding. I want to do exclusive bed sharing. I want to follow all of the proper ABCs. I want to, like, whatever it is, I can meet them where they are and then try to, I think that judging is not the right word. I don't judge people, but if I see something that's unsafe,
right,
then I'll jump in and be like, let's not do it that way. Here's a better, like, I see your goals. I see what you want to do. Here's a way that we can do it that's going to be a little bit safer. But yeah, really, like, whatever you want to do, however you want to be a parent, I want to be there to support you and help you to feel comfortable and confident and like you got
I love that. So going back to what I asked earlier when I kind of asked you two questions at once, what's your favorite part of being a new parent coach and with the niche of helping people in a time of need?
All right. So what I really love most is when there is a parent who is at a point of struggling. There's some sort of a conflict, there's something going on that they just need to get over that hump, or they need to get, around that next obstacle to feel like they've got things under control again. And then helping them through that and having that aha moment and seeing that confidence come through and seeing what they're capable of doing, which is really exciting.
Yeah, I really love that. With working overnights, it's really infant based, but I'm trying to transition back into days once my baby is born. And I am basically going to be following in your footsteps unintentionally, because that is, I also share the same love of everything you just said. I love supporting people wherever they are and helping them. So apparently you're my hero.
Oh, thank you. But I think we need a lot of people to do this, right? This is the community that moms and dads need. They need the people to surround them, to lift them up and to empower them in what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, bringing a baby into this world or a child is hard. Parenting is hard, and they say it takes a village, and it really takes so many people to make sure that everyone is supported.
And so many of the moms that I work with, and dads too, but I keep saying moms because traditionally I work more with the moms than the dads, but that's changing a little bit. They don't have a village. You went to college and you knew people, and then you left wherever you went to college and you started a life and you have your work friends. But a lot of us going into parenthood don't have strong communities and strong connections anymore. And so many of the families I work with have never held a newborn, have never changed a diaper, have no experience of or thought of what it means to be feeding somebody every 2 to 3 hours, 24/7, and what that actually means. And so if we were still in a society where you had your aunt and your sister and your grandmother, and you've experienced a lot of this and they're passing their wisdom, I don't think you would need us as much.
No, and I agree. And I feel like right now we're in such an interesting part of our lives with the pandemic that a lot of people, they know we're safe, and they know that we're professionals. We know what we're doing. We know how to keep ourselves safe. We know how to keep their families safe, and we know how to support them. And with that, I feel like postpartum doulas and postpartum professionals in general are far more popular right now, specifically, than family members or friends. Like, if pre-pandemic, you'd be depending on your friends or your family a lot more, I think.
I think so, because they would be able to fly in from California, or whatever, and they're not able to do that right now. And the beauty of what we do is, and this is something that I really want to like spread the word and get out there, is that as awesome as it is to have us come in and hold the baby while mom takes a shower and help out around the house, so much of what parents need is that emotional support, that education, that reassurance, all of that piece of it, and we can do that remotely. So if they're not comfortable having us come into their houses, if they're not physically in the same geographical area, we can totally zoom in to their house and help out with so many of the issues that are nearest and dearest to our hearts.
Definitely. And yeah, I agree. And I feel like with the pandemic, perinatal mental health disorders are really real. I guess. And they're becoming more prevalent because people are more aware of it, and COVID is not easy. Living in a pandemic is not easy. And we are trained to know what to look for within reason, and to know what resources to recommend and how to support these families when they are struggling.
Right. Yeah. My husband's a teacher, and as like part of his continuing ed, he just had to take a, what do you call it? He called it a mental health first aid class.
Oh, interesting.
And I loved that terminology. I think we have a lot of that same training, but I love the idea of it being mental health first aid.
Mm-hmm.
So what can you do in the moment to take care of whatever's happening in front of you, so that then you can bring in some of those professionals? Because we're not mental health clinicians.
No, we're not.
But we can make those referrals. So by being that first aid person, we can be the first on scene. We can recognize things from a different perspective than the parents, and then we can help them to get that help that they need going forward. And that's such an important piece of what we do.
Yeah, there's a quote that I love and I live by it. I don't know the exact quote, but essentially it's the gist of, you can't help others until you have your own oxygen mask on, or you can't help others put their oxygen mask on until yours is on and secure. And you need to make sure you are taken care of before you can help anyone else. And that goes for us or people we're supporting. It's, if we aren't us personally, if the providers aren't even making sure that we are following self-care, then we're not going to be able to help other people.
Right. And I think that that's vitally important to convey to the parents too, that they have to take care of themselves in order to take care of their baby. So we're the caretakers of them, they're the caretakers of their baby. And that self-care has such an overused like sense about it right now. And by self-care, I mean, and I'm sure you too as well, it's not getting a pedicure, it's not going for a massage, it's having a cup of coffee by yourself. It's being able to take a shower, and just decompress for a few minutes. It's going for a walk around the block.
I was going to say that. Yeah. Taking a breath of fresh air, sitting outside with a book for 10 minutes.
I had one mom who her most favorite moment of the day was when she could take a cold seltzer into a hot shower. She's like, that is just such a reset for me.
And that's great that she knows that. So.
Right. Yep. So figuring out what that is, and then helping the parents find time to do that for themselves. And the other big key is recognizing that their partner, if they have one, also has something that they need to do for their self-care, and helping each other to remember to do it, and then to honor them and to give them that space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. When there are two or more partners, the birthing partner is very important, but the non-birthing partner is just as important. They have different needs, but they also are just as important. And I feel like a lot of the time, dads specifically feel like they aren't as important because their partner just gave birth, and you are equally as important. It's just different.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. One thing I do want to point out is of the families that I work with, a lot of the parents have a preconceived notion of, or not the parents I work with, but their surrounding circles, a preconceived notion of what should be hard. Like, oh, that shouldn't be hard for you. It was so easy for your sister. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's not a big deal. But I feel like it's important to remember that nobody can define what's a big deal except for the person who's going through it. So when I talk to people and they're having trouble, like they're not getting over that hump, there's something in the way, there's an obstacle, what that is not up to me to say, oh, that's something easy, let's help you through it. It's up to the parent to say, I'm feeling like an 8 right now and I want to be at a 3. And it might be something that's so seemingly simple as, I can't figure out what kind of clothing to put my kid in for the winter season, and it's really stressing me out because I don't know how to buy anything or not buy anything. Or it could be something major, like I have a 3rd degree tear. I just had, you know, my ankle is broken and I can't figure out how to move around with the baby, right? Like they're both equally hard for the person going through it. And so honoring that person wherever they are is a really big part of what I do. And I know what you do as well.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And I like that you pointed that out for sure. As you said, nobody can tell anyone else how they feel.
Right.
We can't live other people's experiences. Only the person living that experience knows what it's like.
Absolutely. Yep.
Well, Amanda, I really, really appreciate having you chat and come. And I think that it's time to end this conversation, if that's all right. Do you have any last thoughts?
Absolutely. I appreciate you being here and thank you so much. I would love to chat with you anytime. So
That would be lovely.
feel free to. And if there's any questions from anybody, you have all of my contact information and feel free to share that around.
Perfect. And I will include your contact information at the end of the video.
Sounds wonderful.
All right. Thank you so much.